Hey, had a mouse one here. Roughly 2.5 years ago, I made a video where I made Mario and Peach out of paper mache. Looking back on these pieces now, they're really not great. So I'm going to see how much I've progressed in over 2 years. So the mixture I use is exactly the same. It is still flour, water and salt. And yeah, so this part, until here, when I've massaged it out, I literally do exactly the same as I did last time. And instantly, I start working more on trying to get the actual shape of Mario's face correct. I build out his cheeks and give him his large nose and start building out his chin more. I actually defined his moustache, where before it's like very poorly defined. And yeah, mostly I was just going off a reference and actually trying to make it look like Mario and not generic person wearing hat, which I then painted Mario's features onto. I'm using a paperclip to work out the details and stuff, and I use it to push out sections of Mario's face and his mouth, like so his eyes and mouth. I slip in small balls of paper clay for his eyes, and I also define his eyebrows. A lot of these details do get smushed, and I do have to redo them over the process, but it does help to get them on nice and early. Then I use these little teardrop pieces to create the hair that goes down the side of his face, in front of his ears. I just do like 2 teardrop pieces, one on top of the other, and I just like blend them in. His ears are these half moons of paper clay, which I just blend on with my paper clip. For his body, I add his arms onto a block. I'm only going to go up to his shoulders again because I do want to keep the proportions roughly the same as when I did it before. They do end up being slightly bigger, but then I did like 2 years ago, but yeah, I do think it is good that I have them be as similar in intention as possible. This is what I was trying to make before. I define the straps really clearly using paper mache, which is something I didn't do last time, and I add on little buttons using little circles of paper mache. I continue defining his hair, going all the way around. With these little teardrops. I don't bother doing the top of his head because he is going to be wearing a hat, but just under the hat where you can see his hair poking through, that is something I do need to define quite clearly. The Mario characters are quite fun to make out of paper clay because they are so stylized. I use a strip of paper for his hat, like its rim, and then I just build out the rest of the hat using regular paper mache, and I blend that in nice and securely. And I do up the back, which creates a nice, it helps define the shape of his hat better because his hat isn't just a semicircle. And I put on a circle where the logo is going to be. After adding the 2 pieces together, I can start to paint them. I start by mixing a nice skin tone for his face. I just paint that on nice and liberally. It takes a couple coats, but yeah. I then do his hat, this nice bright red colour, and I go all the way around with that. And I also do his shirt in the same red colour where it's visible under his overalls. I do his overalls in, of course, a nice denim blue. The colour job so far very standard and similar to how I did it before. I do the same for the back. And then I make a nice brown hair. I do end up darkening it from this, but this is what I used for the first coat. His moustache is actually a darker shade of brown than the rest of his hair. Don't know why, but his facial hair, as on his character model, is darker than the rest of his hair. So I reflected that in my paint job. I add on some white details, such as the eyes and the emblem. And I also add some definition to his mouth. I add on the gold accents. Then I give him some nice bright blue eyes. I make a point to do the bottom of the character because that is somewhere which is easy to overlook. I add some just shading, like some yellow light reflecting off his nose and some ruddiness to his cheeks, and then Areas that have like indents and stuff, I like to go over with a nice black wash. And then I dry brush the original colour back on in places because the wash does darken it quite considerably. Then I add on a nice M. I quickly do the rim, Mod Podged that because it was slightly flimsy and I wanted to make sure it was nice and secure before I added on the wash there. I do Mod Podge over everything now because like that was just a first coat for that specific section. I do want to glaze the entire thing. It makes the whole thing feel so much more complete and professional. Now on to Princess Peach. I start off with the exact same process, just mushing together some paper clay. I'll say I think that my Mario was better than my Peach in both instances. So I do think Mario comes out better than Peach does, but I still think Peach is considerably better than the blobby mess that I made 3 years ago. First off, she actually has a nose, which I didn't make last time. Although Peach's nose is absolutely tiny on her character. Her hair is always quite complicated because her hair is always quite a bit more extravagant than Mario's is. Her features are also much smaller than Mario's. Mario's features are very exaggerated. Hers are a lot more normal, I'd say. I give her big ball earrings. She's quite dainty in her features. I think is the best way to put it. I start building out some of her hair, which is in these like tufts like of triangles. I make them using like teardrops and then curling up the edges. Her crown I make with a ring of paper because the crown was something I did quite bulkily before, but it's actually quite a dainty piece and it didn't even come out perfect now, but yeah, it is definitely better the way I've done it here. Hey, maybe in 3 years I'll have figured out a better way to do it and I can make them again. I work on her torso and I even add in the tops of her gloves. And I add in a jewel which I surround with paper to make it look like it's actually like embedded into the front of her shirt. And I clean that up. And then I add on her neck. Unlike Mario, Peach actually has quite the neck. Mario has no neck, but Peach does have quite the neck. I attach the 2 pieces and I secure it all in with her hair because the neck isn't quite strong enough to support it, but her hair does connect both pieces because it touches both her torso and the back of her head, obviously. So that was very key in making sure the head stayed put. I create a nice collar for her dress using paper as well. And then I go on to the paint job. She is incredibly pale as a character. Like, incredibly pale. Like, I think she spends too much time in another castle and not enough time in the sun. Like, vitamin D is important, princess. Make sure you spend some time outside. I thought you played golf or something. Her hair is bright yellow. So I do that. And I paint on her lips, and of course I do the gems and earrings in a nice bright blue. And I add in some white details like her gloves. I add the gold accents in much the same way I did on Mario. In this case it is around the gem on her torso and her crown. And I do her collar in a darker pink colour. Then I continue to add colours to the gems. Now I'm going on to the ones on her crown, and I also do her eyes. And I do these other 2 gems in this like raspberry pink colour. And I add on some black and white details. Then I Mod Podge over everything. And with that we're done. So we have Mario from this to this. Then we have Peach, who went from this to this. And yeah, this is 2.5 years worth of progress. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next week with another one. Bye!